This one, interesting. Now, we had a lot to say about the men's Money in the Bank. I don't have as much to say about the women's. But I will say that there is a lot of really intriguing stories happening. And this is where I go back to the original point of WWE this year with Money in the Bank is making it more interesting that there are more potential winners. In the past, especially on the women's side, I've always felt there's like one person that they're pushing, one person who's going to win, and the rest are just there to do suplexes and spots through tables and ladders. Like a traditional Vince McMahon Money in the Bank on the women's side, it'd be like, well, Becky's in it, and Becky's the one they built. Becky's winning. And everyone else, and you'd be like, assuming the rest weren't built properly. I find this one more interesting than the men's, just in terms of everyone involved basically is involved in a story. That's what's cool. The only one is Zelina Vega that is not. However, Zelina Vega is to me your dark horse in the whole match, which makes it interesting. And she had a great showing at Backlash, and I liked her match. I like her in LWO, and I like that she's getting a push. So like Zelina Vega is kind of my dark horse where I go, ooh, that'd be kind of cool if you built her up more and more. You make her a project and you get Zelina Vega over way more. Give her Money in the Bank. It could be fun. And again, it's different. It's refreshing. And she could be somebody that sneaks it off of Asuka or a Bianca Belair if she grabs the title again. It's kind of the dark horse there. I just don't ultimately see it happening because I think there's other people that can do a little bit better. Javi with the $1.99 super chat. Thanks, buddy. Io wins by turning on Bayley and Bayley goes face. Interesting. So that's the other story you have in here is Io Sky and Bayley. I gotta believe that this is where you get, because you're in the UK, I really think that you're gonna get the UK crowd going crazy like they did at Backlash in Puerto Rico. They're gonna go nuts for Io Sky. And I think you can have that moment in Money in the Bank. And we still have a few more SmackDowns to go where they can build this up more and more with Bayley and Io tension, and they're doing that. I think you get the moment in the Money in the Bank match where maybe they're both going to go up and reach for the belt. Maybe they don't realize that the other person, like the other person's on the other end of the ladder. They climb to the top and then they're like, oh, what are we going to do? And then there's that moment and you have the crowd kind of building and going nuts for Io. And they're standing there at the top of the ladder, and maybe Bayley is gonna feel like, get out of the way, like, it's mine. And Io finally makes the turn. I think in this match, as you guys have said in chat, I think in this match, you get the turn of Io on Bayley, and it sets off that story and that match to happen at SummerSlam. Io Sky is gonna have, this will be her big standout breakout moment, in my opinion, is Money in the Bank, where she can do some really cool stuff, turn on Bayley, because damage control is done. Dakota Kai's out and injured. She's gonna be out for the rest of the year. You don't have this. If we rolled the clock back, it'd be cool if they were a tag team, but the women's tag division is whatever. So you break them up. Io turns on Bayley. I ultimately do think Io Sky is the one to win. I think you get the most mileage out of it. And I think you get a lot of intrigue. FBE in the chat says, thank you for the super chat. Bayley as a face on the main roster did not work. You're right. Bayley on the main roster didn't work. You keep her face, or excuse me, you keep her heel, you keep Bayley heel, and you make Io Sky your face. Io Sky is the one to win for me. The turn on Bayley. You get the SummerSlam match. Maybe the SummerSlam match is for the briefcase. Like maybe Bayley is just, they have the turn. And that's going to set them up where Bayley's like, that belt or that Money in the Bank was mine. Somehow they get there where they're like, put the Money in the Bank on the line at SummerSlam. So you could have that, or just the one-on-one match. You could also get Io Sky to cash in at SummerSlam after she has a match with Bayley. Like there's a lot of stuff you could do, or you could just milk it for several months. But I think you get somebody new. And you also get that story of Io versus Bayley, and you could do that for several months while Io is also looking to tease Money in the Bank cash-ins. So you get a lot of options. Okay. Then you got Zoe Stark, Becky, and Trish, and I lumped them together because they're in their storyline right now. They're not winning, in my opinion. Trish would be fun. I like Trish's Legends run right now. Kind of like a Brock or an Edge. She's coming back. She's here long term, and I like it, especially on the women's side. WWE does not do this traditionally. They bring other guys back, like an Edge, who has a big retirement run, and comes back and they do a Legends run. They do that with all the men, and they never do it with the women. The women come in traditionally in WWE, and they have a match. They pop the crowd. They twirl around. They do a 6-minute match, and they're out. I love the fact that they brought Trish Stratus in, and they made her a focal point of a huge story with the top women, Becky, and they're doing that. And you got Zoe Stark in the mix, who's an NXT star, got called up. Now she's involved in something big. She's the henchwoman behind Trish, but at least it's getting her TV time, mic time, and she can learn a lot. And you guys are saying in the chat too, you're like, Zoe is the dark horse. Yeah, that's very true. I feel like Zelina, Zoe, true dark horses. I don't see Zoe Stark winning this thing, but it creates intrigue in Money in the Bank where Zoe could be in the position to get Money in the Bank during the match, and Trish is basically telling her, like, don't, or give it to me. You could have the deception in there if you wanted to rush that, but I think you could. I don't think that's what they want to do. Becky made a good, interesting comment during Raw of like, I gotta go against all these people. She says, like, I got problems with everybody in Money in the Bank. And she's like, I either gotta win the whole thing, or I'm taking Trish and Zoe Stark down with me. And like in a blaze of glory. And I think it's a cool story beat, and I think that that's what they're gonna end up doing. I think Becky will be in a position where she could win, but she's gonna kind of be like, I'm on the verge of losing maybe, and then she's gonna turn her attention to Zoe Stark and Trish and take them out. And it'll take out all three of them in the match, to then maybe lead to Bayley and Io fighting it out and Io winning. But ultimately on the women's side, everybody, I think you end up with Io Sky winning Money in the Bank.